Hello, I'm Todd Spitzer, the Orange County District Attorney. I am so honored to take part in this year's Read Across America Day, which is also known as Dr. Seuss Day. This year I've chosen a special book called Counting on Catherine, how Katherine Johnson saved the Apollo 13 astronauts, and it's written by Helene Baker. This is a story about a venturous and bold African-American woman who was a mathematician who worked for the space program. I wish I could be there reading this book to you in person and sharing your thoughts and my thoughts together, but we can't. So I want you all to go pick a book that's special to you. I want you to share it with your family, share it with your friends, and then have somebody read it with you. Why? Because sharing stories lets us use our imagination and helps us learn about other people and places and things. So thank you for letting me share this special book with you. Catherine loved to count. She counted the steps to the road, the steps up to the church, the number of dishes and spoons she washed in the bright white sink. The only thing she didn't count were the stars in the sky. Only a fool, she thought, would try that. Even so, the stars sparked her imagination. What was out there? Catherine yearned to know as much as she could about numbers, about the universe, about everything. Catherine's boundless curiosity turned her into a star student. She was so bright, she skipped 3 whole grades. She catapulted right past her older brother. He wasn't too happy about that. By the time she turned 10, Catherine was ready for high school. But back then, America was legally segregated by race. Her town's high school didn't admit black students of any age. Catherine burned with fury. She wanted more than anything to keep learning. There was still so much to know. "Count on me," Catherine's father told her. By working day and night, he earned enough money to move the family to a town with a black high school. Catherine loved high school. She was good at every subject, but math was still her favorite. She dreamed of becoming a research mathematician, making discoveries about the number patterns that are the foundations of our universe. In those days, though, there were no jobs as research mathematicians for women. Professions most available to them were teaching and nursing. So Catherine became an elementary school teacher. She liked her job, she loved her students, but she never stopped dreaming about exploring numbers. In the 1950s, the United States government's National Advisory Committee on Aeronautics hired thousands of new employees. It even started hiring black women as mathematicians. Catherine heard about the mathematician job. Her heart raced with excitement. Perhaps her dream could come true after all. But when she applied for one of the positions, she was told they already had filled it. Catherine had to wait a whole year until new spots opened up. Her patience paid off. She got the job. A few years later, the Soviet Union sent a rocket ship into space, launching a space race with the United States. NACA, where she worked, was rolled into a new space agency, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, which many of us call NASA. Catherine now found herself at the heart of America's space program. She worked as a computer. Electronic computers, like we all know, were not widely used yet, calculating a long series of numbers. All the computers were women. They were given the tasks that men thought were boring and unimportant. Well, that didn't bother Catherine. She knew without her contribution, a spaceship could not reach its destination, nor safely return to Earth. Here's why. Sending a rocket ship into space is like throwing a ball in the air. At first, the force throws the ball up, up, and up. But as its energy runs out, the ball's path curves back towards the ground. Where it lands depends on what angle it was thrown and how high and how fast it flew. Because math is kind of a language, Catherine could ask these questions. How high would the rocket ship go and how fast would it travel? Using numbers. And numbers would provide the all-important answer. Where would it land? To find out, Catherine plotted the numbers she calculated on a graph. When she joined the points together, they formed a curved line. At one end of that line was Earth at the time the rocket ship launched. At the other end was where the Earth would be when the ship landed. Catherine's reputation for accuracy and strong leadership skills, she was known for asking plenty of questions too, got her promoted to Project Mercury, a new program designed to send the first American astronauts into space. Mercury's mission was going to be dangerous, so dangerous that even the project's star astronaut, John Glenn, refused to fly unless Catherine's numbers okayed the flight. You can count on me, she said. Glenn's spacecraft, called Friendship 7, orbited Earth 3 times and returned home safely. Glenn became a national hero. Catherine was promoted again. Now she was asked to calculate the flight for the Project Apollo, the first flights to our moon. Count on me, she said. On July 20th, 1969, the Apollo 11 astronauts walked on the moon. Their feat was celebrated around the world. More triumphs followed. Apollo 12 rocketed to the moon in November of 1969. Apollo 13 launched on April 11th, 1970. But on the third day of Apollo 13's flight, the worst thing happened. An explosion in space. Could the crippled spacecraft make it to the moon? And if it didn't, would it be able to get back to Earth? The 3 astronauts on board were in grave peril. The commander, Jim Lovell, told Mission Control, Houston, we have a problem. Now, back on Earth, Katherine Johnson got a phone call. Her flight path calculations would have to be done all over again and perfectly. It would be the toughest challenge of her life. Catherine told Mission Control, you can count on me. She rolled up her sleeves, took a deep breath, and began doing the math. She worked hard and fast. A few hours later, Catherine's calculations were finished. The flight path to return home would take the ship around the far side of the moon. From there, the moon's gravity would act like a slingshot to zing the ship back to Earth. To get home, the crew of Apollo 13 would have to follow Catherine's course exactly by burning off fuel at precise intervals. If the astronauts made a mistake, their ship would drift into space forever. Catherine waited anxiously to hear the astronauts' report. Finally, it crackled over the loudspeakers. We got it! Apollo 13 was back on track. Catherine Johnson had done it. She brought Apollo 13 home. She was no longer the kid who dreamed of what lay beyond the stars. She was now a star herself. I hope you enjoyed that book.